Do you think in 250 years you're going to matter?
Me?
Yeah.
Of course.
Not. Of course.
Wouldn't it, how powerful would it be if you created something? Imagine you worked out time. We don't understand time. Humans don't understand time, right? But imagine you've worked out time and you're like, hey, I've actually created a device that you can look into it and it's going to show you in 250 years. And then you look into it and then you realize, oh, like no one even knows who I am. Like they don't care.
I don't give a shit.
Just moves on, they're talking all this other shit. That would be really powerful.
Man, that'd be amazing.
How powerful would that be?
100%.
Because
Looking into the future. Very powerful shit. Reason I say is 8 weeks ago, Kerwin Ray passed away. Now, for those of you that don't know who Kerwin Ray is, he's an Australian entrepreneur, business coach type person. I'd imagine that most people listening to this podcast know who Kerwin Ray is. Now, I went to his Nail It and Scale It event. I did his Nail It and Scale It event online because it was during COVID, and my friend had a ticket and he said, here, come and do it. I did it half-assed at the time because I was so busy, online, half working, half listening sort of thing. But aside from that, about 10 years ago when I started my business initially, Kerwin was one of the very first people I actually went and saw. He was at like some room in Carlton, before he was really massively popular, and he was talking about social media and hashtags and how to take advantage of Instagram and all that sort of stuff. So he was probably one of the very first people that got me on the track of wanting to start improving business and research and all that sort of stuff. And then over the years, I always followed him. I really liked a lot of his stuff that he had said, really resonated with me and business. And he was same with a lot of people, built a massive following, had over 1 million, probably like 1.5 million followers on Facebook. He spoke on stages with like Gary Vaynerchuk, with Grant Cardone, with like a whole bunch of people, really influential person, and really helped a lot of business owners. I think he's probably one of the best 3 in the country that what he was doing. I'd say it'd be him, maybe Aaron Sansoni, and what's the other one? Jack DeLosa. They're probably the 3 that come to mind when it comes to that business coaching, mentoring sort of thing. Yeah. And he died, I don't know the reason, I'm not too sure what the reasons were, but he died about 6 weeks ago, say. For those of you listening to this right now that know him or of him, how many times have you thought about him in the last week or today? Or before listening to this moment right now?
Yeah. Well, since his passing.
Since his passing. Right. And this is a guy who was quite influential in that space. He was putting out a lot of content, did podcasts, did events with thousands of people in them, and affected a lot of people.
Positively affected.
Positively, yeah. How many of you have thought about him since that day? Do you know what I mean? And it was similar to like when... I think Gary Vaynerchuk said this, when Prince passed away, one of the biggest music icons in the world. It's like he got press for like 3-4 days and then that's it. No one's spoken about him since. No one's thought about him since. And we're all walking around here like everything we do, everything we're about,
it's going to live forever.
It's going to live forever. When the reality is, at your funeral, everyone's going to be really sad. Then they're going to go to the next stage being they're going to go to someone's house. Everyone's going to be crying. They might tell some jokes. I'll go home that night. Okay, that was a sad day. They'll probably go to sleep, wake up the next morning, go to work. Maybe your immediate family might be sad for the next week, the next 2 weeks, the next month. Eventually, they're also going to get up, go to work, move on with their days. Look at a photo of you every now and then. Oh, that was a nice memory. Bit, yeah. Then they're going to have kids. And you go, I really wish you met your granddad or your grandmother one day. I wish you did once upon a time. And then eventually you're just going to become that little moment in time. Because then those people are going to pass away. And then those people are going to pass away. And then those people pass away. And then it's 250 years in the future. And then how much is everyone going to remember you and what you're about?
Do you know your dad's grandfather?
No, I don't.
Do you know of him?
Yes.
Like you know his name?
Yes.
You know what he did?
Not entirely.
Do you know what type of person he was?
Not really.
Do you talk about him much?
Never.
That's only 3 generations.
That's right.
It's like,
Different. He lived in a different country too, mind you. So it was a little bit of a disconnect there. But yeah, I know what you're saying. That's only two generations away. I mean, the difference with what we do and how we're about now is, yeah, you can argue we've got social media. Like, people are still probably going to see Kerwin's content. It probably still goes viral in a country somewhere. Who knows what it might be. However, people will probably have to specifically look you up and search you up to find out you and what you're about. So even then, if you're still not relevant in that time, it's going to be pretty difficult for you to connect with people. But yeah, I just thought that was interesting, being that that's 8 weeks ago, and that this guy was like, he was creating a lot of content. Yeah. He was doing a lot of moves. Like, people in that space, like, most people in business know him.
I think
Knew him.
He's a big person in the state. Like, he was a large figure.
Yeah.
I was shocked, dude, when I heard.
Yeah, I sent it to you.
You sent it to me, and I thought he was sending me an event. Yeah, and I looked at it briefly on my watch, and then I thought, I'll check it out. I was doing something. I was like, I'll check it out in a moment. And then when I went and looked at it, I couldn't believe my eyes, man. I thought, is this a joke? Like, and it was 9 News. And I was like, this can't be a joke. And I remember, like, just trying to scramble to try and find out, like what happened. Like,
young, like 49 or something.
I went to an
48,
event
49?
this year.
Oh, did you?
I went and saw him this year, man.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, I went and saw him at the start of this year. He was supposed to come at an AI event. Do you remember?
I remember, yeah.
Yeah, I did it right after a podcast.
Yeah.
I did a podcast, and I got up and left and went straight to the event. Yeah,
I wanted to, though.
Yeah, and
you used some of that some of that content was beneficial for you in your business.
Yeah, 100%. And it's like, guy going hard at life in every aspect. Like, he was like
fit.
He looked fit. He was spiritual.
Smart, spiritual, yeah.
He
Had
was
young family.
Yeah,
kids.
had kid, maybe 2 kids. And gone.
Yep. So look, for a moment, I just wanted to acknowledge him, because I wasn't a type of person that he had a great impact in my life, but I definitely had a deep respect for what he did and what he achieved in the short amount of time that he was here.
Yeah, I also, you know what I liked about him? There wasn't 2 things. He was, you know how I found out about him? Gary Vee.
Oh, right.
Because there was a video of him meeting Gary Vee early on, and him saying to Gary Vee saying to him, you need to just put out content. Yeah. Like, you're not putting out content, you need to put out content. And then him seeing Gary Vee like 2 years later and saying, hey, thank you, man, you changed my life, blah, blah, blah.
And Gary Vee knowing who he was, because he had started to put out so much content.
Yeah, yeah. And I thought that was sick. Like, that was cool. When was I going to? I was going to say something about that. Oh, and the second thing I really liked about him was I'm a very casual person. Like, I wear maybe 3 or 4 different pieces of clothing over and over. Like, you know what I mean? I put on hats all the time. I just don't. I'll very rarely wear a suit or things like that. I'll very rarely dress out of I just like to be comfortable. Yeah. Right? Like, I'll come here. Like, I'm here.
Also, I mean, you don't need to be in a 3-piece suit every single day.
Yeah. But he was one of, I think, few people to go and wear a t-shirt on stage.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He would rock up in like jeans and a t-shirt.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, that's cool. Like, I like that you're doing that. I like the fact that Hormozy does it. He goes on stage with a hat backwards. Do you know what I mean? And you're like, yeah, that's cool. Like, you guys are being yourself. You're not no longer putting on this facade of, look at me, look at my suits, look at my jewelry.
Yeah.
You know, I'm rich, listen to me.
Look at my watch. Here's my Centurion Amex card.
Yeah.
Let me go grab the Bentley or the Porsche or the Lambo.
I like that he doesn't do that. No one knows what car. Do you know what car he drove?
No idea.
No idea. He could have drove something.
Sure he did.
Really cool.
Sure he did. Yeah. Like, he was very successful. Like, I'm sure he made a lot of money as well.
Yeah, I'm sure he did.
So, I mean, people would have looked at him and envied him. The guy's dead now. Right? How much do you envy that? Do you know what I mean? Would you trade places with him? Would you trade places with him? I bet you, like, good question. Knowing he was going to die at 49 but have this extravagant life of fame, fortune, but knowing that he's going to die at 49. Would you trade places with him? No way.
No.
Not in a million years. And Richard Branson said this the other day. It's like someone came up to him at an event and he was a young kid. He was 21 years old. Hey, goes, Richard, he goes, you're a billionaire. He goes, can we go to the ATM down the road and can you give me $1,000? Right? $1,000 to you isn't a fart in the wind. Like, it's nothing. But to me, like, that's astronomical. Like, that $1,000 is going to change my month, you know, for me to get $1,000. And the fact that I get it from you as well, like, what a great memory. And Richard turns to him and says, look, I'm not going to get you the $1,000. He goes, but do you know what I would do? He goes, I would give up absolutely every cent I had to be 20 years old and broke. Because I would give up everything. Because that's what you have that I don't. Because I'm fucking in my 70s, 80s, however old he is. I would give up everything to be 20 years old and completely broke. And it changed that kid's perspective completely. All right? It was no longer about the $1,000. It was like, wow, I have a whole life ahead of me.
I think stories like that are great because they give you as much of a feel as you're going to get for something like that without having experienced it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I think there is nothing, no one can ever say it to you that will, like, how many times do you hear people say stuff? Have you ever heard yourself say something now? And then you're like, people used to say it to me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I didn't listen. Yeah. Or I heard them and I knew they were right, but it hits different now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like your 20s will fly. And you're like, nah, this is ages. And the next thing you know, you're in your 30s. Yeah. And you're like, holy fuck. Oh, if you're really old, you're 40. Okay. But time does fly, man. Time fucking goes so quickly, dude. So quickly. You know, and another one, you mentioned that thing about the figures at the start. Another prominent person that people do that with is the Queen.
Yeah.
Who died a couple of years ago. It's like, how many times have you thought about her? You know, she changed modern society in the Commonwealth, like female ruler. Like, you know, she came into power at a time where it wasn't okay to be a woman in power. And she did so much and impacted so many people. I don't know anything about the royal family and all that. But just to someone of that sort of caliber, right? Like almost everyone, or a lot of people, I should say, like half the planet would have knew who she was. How many people you reckon have thought about her in the last 6 months?
I haven't thought about it since you've mentioned it.
I'm still not thinking about it. I'm still, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
But it's like, you're going to die.
You're going to die.
Literally. One day, hopefully far, far away.
Far, far away, surrounded by loved ones.
You know what? You're lucky if that happens.
Yeah. Oh, without a doubt. If you make it to the end.
If you get to make it to the end and be surrounded by the loved ones and know that you're going to kick the bucket.
That's it. And be of sound mind.
Yeah.
Man,
do you know what I mean?
You've made it. You won. You clocked life. You clocked life at that level. You know, not many.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click just over here. Or if you want to watch the full episode, you can click over here. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and thanks for watching.